Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat. Pasko pa rin po at nasa loob tayo ng tinatawag nating oktaba ng Pasko ng Pagsilang. So hanggang Enero, unang araw po ng Enero ay bahagi ng oktaba ng Pasko ng Pagsilang. Ngayon po ay laging napapalaman sa dalawang dakilang kapistahan ng Pasko at ni Maria, Ina ng Diyos, ang kapistahan ng banal na pamilya. Una po, bago po natin pag-usapan ang banal na pamilya, gusto ko po sanang ilagay ang konteksto sa ating katatayuan bilang tao sa mundo. Alam niyo po na dadalawang bagay ang pwedeng mangyari pagka tumatanda na ang mga magulang natin. My parents died a long time ago. So I speak about these matters with a whole lot of backward reflection and my own conclusions after so many years as a counselor. Dadalawa po ang pwede natin pagpilian. Either you do the blame game, tulad ng ginawa ng mga anak nung sa sine na palabas pa ngayon, yung isa pang bahaghari. If you have time, watch it because I rarely watch Filipino movies, but my friend told me to watch it. And I'm happy to note that in the last 3 Christmases, there are 2, including this movie that talks about the family. Pagka po ang sine o ang kwento o ang anumang palabas sa TV o sa YouTube ay may kinalaman sa pamilya, tiyak pong maraming interesado. Bakit to? Your family is all you have. It can make you or break you. But even if it makes you, you can thank God for your family. If it breaks you, thank God too. Because the family teaches you lessons that you will never learn in textbooks. And I would like to talk about this. Dalawang options. Pwede niyong i-demonize ang inyong mga magulang. That is the blame game. So nag-abroad itong nakalimutan ko yung mga pangalan sa kwento, tapos akala nila'y namatay na, and then after so many years, more than 20 years, came back home and tried to reunite with his 3 children and his former wife. And the children, including the wife, Nora Honor, played the role of the wife, did the blame game and they hated him to the bone. Pwede niyong gawin yan. Human as we all are, we can fall victim to the trap of anger. And some people live their whole lives being angry. And I tell you, it does you no good. The three readings today talk not about anger, but about kindness, compassion, mercy, forgiveness, devotion, love, loyalty. All things beautiful. All things beautiful not only for God, but for you and me. So, the other tendency na ginagawa naman ng marami rin sa atin ay ang tinatawag namin mga counselor na primitive idealization. You sanctify, you canonize your parents once they're gone. At wala kang sinasabi kundi kabutihan. You close one eye on their faults and talk glowingly about their virtues, which is a defense mechanism because deep in your heart you know your father was not virtuous, lasinggero, babaero, hindi kayo inalagaan. He was physically present but emotionally absent. And I'd rather that we, all of us, you and me, accept the reality for what our fathers were, for what our fathers are, for what your parents were and are up until now. Because if you go to the pole of demonization, then you have made your final choice. Your parents are no good, and they will be no good until you die. But when you go to the pole of sanctification and canonization, primitive idealization, then there is no healing, sapagkat yung inyong occult anger ay nagnanaknak pa rin sa puso ninyo at hindi nabibigyan lunas. You know, as a counselor, I always tell my counselees after about 8 or 9 or 10 sessions, my job is to put you into a situation of a breakdown, because breakdown is the way to a breakthrough. Breakdown means you accept the reality of your parents' warts and all, without the need for demonization, without the need for canonization and primitive idealization. You just accept the fact your parents were not perfect. And here is where I go now to the readings. The first reading, taken from Sirach, is full of very beautiful thoughts and pieces of advice to bring home. Whether you are 53, 65 years old like I am, or whether you are 16 or 18 or 25 years old. You know, the reality is this: you are always a child of your parents. You are always a son before your parents. And Sirach tells us, and the whole Old Testament tradition, the Hebrew Scriptures, there is one promise that is standing quite obviously and very clearly in the Old Testament. The promise of long life in the land. This is given to those who honor their parents. There is no other promise attached to long life in the land other than that, giving honor and respect to parents. You know, your parents were not perfect. No one is. And you as a mother or a father, you are not perfect. But the acceptance that you are not perfect is half the problem solved. Because if you think you are Superman, well, there is only one Superman and he exists only in the movies. If you think you are a Messiah, I got bad news for you. There is only one Messiah and he has been born more than 2,000 years ago. There are some priests and bishops who behave like the Messiah. I am often tempted to tell them to their face, please don't act like one. You will never be equal to the real Messiah. You may be brilliant, you may be sempre in gamba, as the Italians would say, molto in gamba, very smart, very capable, but you are just a poor copy of the Lord. As parents, you know your limitations, but you do know you deserve the honor coming from your children. And this is what Sirach is telling us. The second reading tells us all about the virtues attached to the capacity to give fitting honor and respect to elders. You have to have the virtues, and St. Paul enumerates them for us. A long list of virtues that we all need. As we grow older then, I would like us in the Feast of the Holy Family to realize one thing. Not even the Holy Family was perfect. I am sure they were arguing in the 7th, 8 months journey to Egypt when they were being pursued by the lascivious Herod, who didn't want any potential competition. I am sure that in the 7 or 8 months you take to journey, walking on foot or atop a very lowly donkey or ass, you know that your patience can wear thin because there is precious little to share with each other. In the caravan that you joined in order to go from Jerusalem all the way up to Galilee, and from there spent months and months traveling to Egypt, to Cairo in Egypt, you know that patience can wear thin. And good graciousness can disappear at any time of day because you're all in danger, whether you're alone or in a caravan. The Holy Family endured all this because they had a mission that they knew they had to fulfill. Both Joseph and Mary, from the Annunciation of angels, knew their roles, and they did it wonderfully well. With love, with compassion, with fidelity, with loyalty, with forgiveness, and everything that we all need as human beings to have. So, let us not idolize or idealize the Holy Family. they were beset by trouble. And remember that the only reason why they went to Egypt was because somebody evil was wishing them evil and wishing to kill the baby boy just born. They knew what they would face, but they did it. Ito po ang aking payo sa ating lahat. Nagdaan po tayo sa napakahirap na 9 na buwan na at hindi natin alam kung kailan matatapos ito. The prognostications of people in the know say that this will be with us, whether we like it or not, at least in the next 5 years. The vaccination is not a panacea. It is not a sure answer to an uncertain problem because the virus is mutating and there is the feared virus coming from UK that is easily transmissible and yet weaker, but then the reality of sickness is a specter that is above our heads like the sword of Damocles. I would like us to hold each other tight as families, because your real salvation doesn't come from Malacanang. Your real salvation comes from your family and the people who love you, come what may, happen what might, cost what might. Your family that you hate, the only family that you have that makes you or breaks you, whatever may be the case, the remaining truth that you have to accept is that whether your family makes or breaks you, you need one. And you need to hold on to that family for dear life. Because that family is your little church, your domestic church. The one that allows you freedom. And I quote here one of my favorite writers, a poet and a mystic, when he said, I am able to love my God because He gives me the freedom to deny Him. Why can you love your family? Why? Because your family gives you the wherewithal, the allowance, the freedom even to deny them and hate them and talk ill of them. Especially now. The reason why I quoted for you Isa Pang Bahaghari is because it is not a perfect movie. There are flaws, as one who loves criticizing movies, but it has one good element. And that good element is that it portrays the reality of the Filipino family now, right here, in a very realistic fashion. The problems, the movie doesn't frown on any issue. It presents them matter-of-factly, and yet the story revolves around forgiveness. Very hard to do. Very hard to do. And yet with the help of God's grace, you are called to do. God bless all your families.